It's a gold rush. We've entered what is widely considered to be the best of the heavyweight division's history. If you love narratives, rivalries, and history, this is the one for you. Showmanship, slugfest, technical masterpieces, the whole show. The 1960s left us with the question of who the new undisputed champion would be in the banishing of Muhammad Ali. That question is to be answered and also act as the rabbit hole to the wonder that is to come. Subscribe and ring the bell. You won't regret it. This is the Golden Age. Starting us strong is the unification of the heavyweights. The beef between Joe Frazier and Jimmy Ellis would come to a decisive end. After two brutal knockdowns in the fifth, Ellis's corner stopped the fight before the sixth. Joe Frazier was the new heavyweight champion of the world, holding all titles but the lineage. You'll see why soon. On the comeback trail after being sparked out by Leotis Martin is Sonny Liston. The once invincible champion had been crippled by Father Time. Oh, and the mystique of Muhammad Ali. He pummeled Chuck Wepner for the 9th round stoppage victory. We'll see where he goes from here. The Battle of the Georges. George Chuvalo never goes down, and George Foreman is a wrecking machine. Both remain true, as Foreman battered Chuvalo for the stoppage in the third. To Foreman's credit, he did stagger the undroppable Chuvalo. He's back. After a 3.5-year layoff, Muhammad Ali returned to the ring against the notable contender Jerry Quarry. It was bold of the lineal champion to return against such a caliber of opponent, and he proved himself by stopping Quarry on cuts. This happened between the 3rd and 4th rounds. Was it more impressive than the fight of the year between Frazier and Quarry? Either way, a collision course is on to fully unify the title. Ali also doesn't look to be the same man we last saw against Zora Foley. Naturally, of course. Joe Frazier's NYSAC title was absorbed into his WBC title, hence the new listing. He welcomed the challenge of light heavyweight champion Bob Foster. The difference in weight class became undeniable in the second round after 2 knockdowns forced the stoppage. Match Frazier and Ali up already. Forget the tune-ups. The lineal champion Muhammad Ali returned for another tune-up against Oscar Bonavena. You know, the man who'd given Joe Frazier trouble beforehand. Ali stopped Bonavena in the 15th round after 3 knockdowns. Alright, match them up. Frazier and Ali are due for 1971. But before we can move on to that, tragedy and mystery. The boxing world lost Sonny Liston to end 1970, and we still aren't quite sure how. In fact, there's many aspects of Sonny's life that we aren't sure of, including his age. Either way, Liston forced his way into the history books beginning in the late 50s and left his mark. Rest in peace, sir. It was billed as the fight of the century, and it blew the expectations and hype out of the water. Joe Frazier decisively whipped and silenced Muhammad Ali to become the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, stamped by a 15th-round knockdown. Okay, maybe not silenced. We know Ali can't shut up, but you get the picture. This is a fight you must watch in full, together with its build-up and its aftermath. It was so brutal that Frazier took the rest of the year off, and it almost secured being the only fight that I covered here in 1971 due to its significance. I did say almost, didn't I? Muhammad Ali returned to the ring 4 months later against former WBA titleist Jimmy Ellis. Ali looked good against Ellis, winning by stoppage in the 12th as he peppered his gym mate. This should provide even further credibility to Joe Frazier's victory. The undisputed champion Joe Frazier returned to have his way with Terry Daniels. Come on, he's earned an easy one after what he did to Muhammad Ali. Lighten up on him. Daniels was down in the first and the fight was stopped in the fourth. Book it. The rising contender George Foreman is back in your face. In dominant fashion, he squashed and bullied Miguel Angel Páez in 2 rounds. It was almost uncomfortable to watch. Foreman is big and mean, and he knows it too. Ooh, and this all happened in the town. Nice. How's that for activity? The undisputed champion returns, again in an easy affair. Dare I say it's still earned. Joe Frazier retained his crown when the fight was stopped between the 4th and 5th rounds. It was another beatdown. Poor Ron Stander. Muhammad Ali's rate of activity has been impressive. Let's check in on his rematch with Jerry Quarry. Yep, he looks even better than the first time because Ali scored a 7th round stoppage win while looking more comfortable in his new skin. He has his legs back. Let's match he and Frazier up again soon. In the 7 years since Muhammad Ali humiliated Floyd Patterson, much has changed. This time around, Ali still had his way with Patterson, but it wasn't brutal. Actually, it was more of a circus show with Ali trying different styles out. It was a 7th round TKO in the books, and Patterson quietly retired after. 3 straight fights to close us out. Muhammad Ali matched up against Bob Foster. Joe Frazier dominated Foster, if you remember. So did Ali, with a comical amount of knockdowns that resulted in an 8th round knockout. Muhammad looks good, besides the cut he suffered. Match he and Smokin' Joe up again. We're ready. Returning to true challengers is undisputed champion Joe Frazier. He's the man, but George Foreman is the monster. In shocking fashion, George Foreman absolutely decimated Joe Frazier. There were 6 knockdowns before the stoppage in the 2nd round. There's a new heavyweight champion of the world, Big George Foreman. Muhammad Ali may be in trouble. Well, the goal has shifted for Muhammad Ali in his trek back to a title shot. Still, Ken Norton ought to be a mere formality before Ali tries his hand at George Foreman. Oh, wait! Oh, his jaw is broken! Ken Norton just shocked the world with a split decision win over the Louisville Lip. There's a new contender on the block, and Ali's momentum has been derailed. Norton also looked to have Ali figured out so well that it wouldn't have mattered what shape the lip was in. Yep, Muhammad Ali is definitely in trouble. We got a sleeper on our hands. The Battle of the Joes saw Frazier and Bugner enter a firefight in England. They bashed one another's brains in, but Frazier got the better, even scoring a knockdown en route to victory. Give this one a watch. You won't regret it. Staking claim to his undisputed crown, George Foreman made easy work of challenger Jose Roman. 1st round knockout, and it's a wonder how Roman even got this shot. Foreman appears to be effortless in his domination over the division. Welcome back. It's do or die for Muhammad Ali. He looks to be in the best shape and condition he's been in since his 1960s glory. He performed far better, but you'd be hard-pressed to notice given Ken Norton just has his number. Ali won a split decision and is moving on to the title scene, but he and Norton will have to cross paths again. It's inevitable that they settle the score for legacy's sake. A star-studded night with the heavyweight trio present and putting on a show in their street clothes. Ali, Frazier, and Foreman almost stole the show from Jerry Quarry and Ernie Shavers. I did say almost, didn't I? The two waged a slugfest before Quarry broke through with a knockdown. Shavers answered, but was stopped. All this in the 1st round, as hinted at by Quarry. Well, it's the rematch we've hungered for, but the stakes aren't as high. Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier have suffered setbacks, but we know the magic they produce in the ring. This would be no exception, but this time Ali was able to better control the action over 12 rounds for a unanimous decision victory. He's a number one contender and set for a match with George Foreman. Muhammad Ali gets the winner of this affair between George Foreman and Ken Norton. That's a win-win for me. As for the fight, Foreman continued in his invincibility, absolutely destroying Norton in 2 rounds. Those 3 knockdowns in the second before the TKO were like watching a bulldozer at work. Muhammad Ali should quit while he can. It's been 5 years since these two fought the fight of the year. Joe Frazier and Jerry Quarry's second dance would be more lopsided in favor of Smokin' Joe, ending in a 5th round stoppage. Frazier was the winner, and some felt it should have been stopped sooner. Well, no more talking, no more running, only destiny from here. 10 years ago, Muhammad Ali shocked the world against Sonny Liston. Would you believe me if I told you he did it again against George Foreman? Believe it. Against all odds and in a history-making showcase, Ali recaptured his crown by toppling the invincible George Foreman by 8th round knockout. He's now the second man to recapture the crown, the same crown he was stripped of back in 1967. This entire event would alter the career of George Foreman. Stick around, the effect will be long. The Cinderella Man left us with a story to behold. His overcoming of Max Baer in 1935 is one of those tales of doing the impossible, quite similar to Ali over Foreman in fact. Braddock belongs to the prestigious lineage of heavyweight champions and will get his flowers in due time. Rest in peace, sir. Another rematch for Joe Frazier, 5 years the difference. Jimmy Ellis stood no chance back then, and certainly doesn't now. Only difference being the beating went until the 9th round, where Ellis's corner called it off. It's been a solid rebound for Smokin' Joe since 1973, and he's due his title shot. Ken Norton and Jerry Quarry really don't like one another. They just see the world in different lights. 2 rough and tough warriors looking to get another title shot. Norton would match Quarry's slugging energy and prevail in the 5th round by TKO. One step closer. The boxing world lost another of its heavyweight marvels from the 1950s. Ezra Charles was a fine champion and man who unfortunately contracted ALS. He would succumb to it, and some believe he was battling it as early as his fights with Rocky Marciano. Charles will receive further coverage in the Lineal Champion Series. Rest in peace, sir. Let me get this out of the way. You need to go watch this fight for yourself. This is one of those slugfests between monster punchers that boxing fans are on the hunt for. Ron Lyle and Ernie Shavers almost caved one another's skulls in, but it was Lyle who survived being decked to storm back and KO Shavers. Eye candy galore. It is time. Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier meet in the ultimate of rubber matches. Once again, the build-up was stellar and the action in the ring would blow it out of the water. Ali and Frazier beat the stuffing out of one another over 14 rounds before Frazier's corner stopped the fight before the 15th. Ali won by TKO, but neither man would ever be the same health-wise. Legacy sealing win for Ali, but it's worth noting that Frazier didn't want to quit. Go watch this event in its entirety for yourself. If you thought Lyle Shavers was something, this one will send you to the moon. George Foreman is back in official action against Ron Lyle. They put on a slugfest for the ages in which they both tasted the canvas multiple times. Foreman would emerge, proving his heart and will to return to the mountaintop. Watch this one for yourself too. Yet another tragedy in the world of boxing. Oscar Bonavena was gunned down at the age of 33. He was on an undefeated streak and aiming to rematch Muhammad Ali. A solid contender. Rest in peace, sir. Second verse, same as the first. As valiant as the now bald Joe Frazier was to enter the ring against George Foreman again, he's just tailor-made for him. Big George continued his ascension back to the title scene by dominating Joe Frazier again. It was a 5th round TKO behind 2 knockdowns. I told you it was inevitable that these two meet again. In the same way that Foreman has Frazier's number, Ken Norton just seems to have Muhammad Ali's number. Despite outlanding Ali, Norton did not receive the decision and cried in his corner afterward. Ali himself admitted later that he thought Ken won too. One last tune-up for George Foreman before rematching Muhammad Ali, and it's against Jimmy Young. Young arguably beat Ali in their 1976 title bout, but there would be no argument here that he defeated Foreman. Yeah, you heard me right. Young even managed to knock George down. It was a pickling and the final straw for George as he retired after the bout to serve the Lord Jesus Christ. Against the odds, for whatever reason, Ken Norton blasted Dwayne Bobbick out of there in the opening round. The inexperienced Bobbick, in hindsight, stood no chance against a seasoned contender. Besides, Norton has a thing for overcoming the odds. For the final time, the Garden gets a Muhammad Ali fight. Why the final time? Well, despite another of his miraculous performances, it was clear that Ali needed to step away from boxing. Ernie Shavers, arguably the hardest hitter in heavyweight history, hit Ali with some devastating blows. It was a unanimous decision win for the greatest. Hindsight is 2020. Oh, you'll see what I mean. Stop questioning me. Ken Norton and Jimmy Young are two contenders known for being robbed. Against one another, they fought a relatively even fight coming down to the wire, in which Norton would squeak out the split decision. Title bout secured. Muhammad Ali dares to defy Father Time against the young upstart Leon Spinks. It was an upset, with Spinks being too much for the champion. He dominated the action and landed at will. There's a new heavyweight champion of the world. Ernie Shavers has the opportunity to earn another title shot, and it's against the little-known Larry Holmes. With the lights bright, Holmes answered the challenge and claimed the shot for himself. He neutralized Ernie's power behind some solid boxing skill and won a decision. Leon Spinks was stripped of the WBC title for rematching Muhammad Ali. Thus, the titles were split for the first time in 8 years, and Ken Norton was awarded the title. In hindsight, which I told you was 2020, Norton's victory over Jimmy Young was his crowning moment for this title. In a tremendous affair, Ken Norton and Larry Holmes went to war over the WBC title. The two were evenly matched, battling through one another's offense and defense for 15 action-packed rounds. Ultimately, Larry Holmes arrived on the main event scene with a split decision win, and he was the new WBC champion. What a fight that, unfortunately, did not spawn a rematch. 3. The magic number. Can Muhammad Ali pickle Leon Spinks to become a 3-time heavyweight champion? Yes, he can. Ali dug into his bag and produced one final miraculous showing to earn a unanimous decision win. He didn't look like his old self per se, but he looked close enough if you know what I mean. Let's hope he quits while he's ahead and in the history books. Yet another loss for the boxing world in Gene Tunney. The Fighting Marine, another of the heavyweight lineage class, was best known for his duology of victories against Jack Dempsey. he is the first shadow champion. Check out my video on that subject. Rest in peace, sir. Two men who'd given both Muhammad Ali and Larry Holmes solid fights clashed. Contenders Ken Norton and Ernie Shavers were expected to have a tug-of-war, but Shavers enforced his will over Norton with a first-round knockout. 2 knockdowns, and it was vicious. On the same card, Larry Holmes had his way with challenger Ozzy Ocasio. Larry's jab, if it wasn't apparent before, emerged as the premier weapon in his arsenal, and perhaps in the entire division. It was a 7th round TKO behind 4 knockdowns. With nothing left to prove, Muhammad Ali decided to walk away from the game on top. What a career. Olympic gold medalist, shocked the world twice 10 years apart, 3-time champion and the only one up to this point, 2 Hall of Fame careers, and beat the best of the best while being past his best himself. Definition of a champion. Once again, the WBA would host a tournament to crown his successor. Now the champion, Larry Holmes, steps under the lights again against Ernie Shavers. This time around, Shavers forced Holmes to the canvas with an overhand right for the history books. Except it wasn't to end that way. Holmes rose and stormed back to stop Shavers in the 11th round. Another great showcase for Larry Holmes, whose prestige grows with every bout. The division is in good hands. To conclude the WBA's tournament, John Tate met Harry Coetzee. Tate and Coetzee, over 15 rounds, didn't really make an impact. Tate was awarded the decision and thus the WBA title. He's heading into the 80s with the strap, and hopefully we have unification to look forward to between him and Larry Holmes. So concludes the Golden Age. Timeless classics, brilliant storylines, legacy sealers, you name it, and it was in the 1970s. The trio of Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, and George Foreman set the bar impossibly high, but fear not, the impending lost generation is not to be dreaded, but embraced in hindsight. You'll see in the next episode about the 1980s. The division is in the more than capable fists of Larry Holmes. Don't sleep on the Eastern Assassin. For a more detailed, extensive look at the 1970s heavyweight division, become a member to enjoy the special edition near 4-hour cut exclusively here on BoxingPedia. Want a sample? 1970 is available to watch for free. Click or tap the bubble in the top right corner or check the bottom of the description. Did you like this video? And do you want to save it for a rewatch? Press the like button. Also, a special message to all my subscribers and would-be subscribers. Ring the bell for my channel so that you get every notification. Some of you have been asking questions that were answered in my community posts. Ring the bell. Be up to date. This is the Charles Jackson, and thank you. God bless.